Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session this morning. My name is Marie-Hélène Lemire, or Marie-Hélène Lemire en québécois. And I'm pleased to really moderate this session, Beyond Clicks, measuring real experiences. And let's start with some introductions.
Hey everyone, my name is Benja Juster. I'm lead creative producer with global events at HubSpot.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Shea Montoya, and I'm the Vice President and Head of Business and Experience Marketing at Yahoo. Excited to be here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabby Neves, and I am the owner of Factory 360. We're one of the largest independently owned experiential agencies in the United States.
Exciting lineup, right? So before we start, I want to warm up this conversation with one question for all of you. If you had to explain what good marketing is without using any metrics, how would you describe it? And I'll start with Shannon.
Oh, I get to go first. I had to go first on my panel the other day, too. For me, I like to say that we're in the business of making memories. Memories are past experiences that have an impact on future decisions. So impressions and clicks are really important in marketing, but they're the outcome, or they're the output. They don't tell the full outcome. And for me, the full outcome is, what is the feeling that someone takes away from an experience? Do they share it with their friends and colleagues? Do they bring them back? So we like to create memories, and we like to create feelings that people are going to take with them for years to come.
Yeah, completely agree with that. I would also add good marketing is being a additive member to a cultural dialogue and being showing up in a way where you're not just extracting, but you're inviting in the audience to partake in your message and add an additional layer of value. And I think that is what communicates a message authentically and creates a good marketing campaign.
Yeah, you mentioned memories, and one thing I talk with my team a lot about is we revisit events at the end of them, conferences, and we say, what do you remember the most? What activation? And there was one time where they were talking about some spin thing that you pulled, and it was so exciting. And I said, what was the brand? And they couldn't remember. That's when you know it doesn't work. So the brand, and to your point, the memory has to connect with the brand, right? So you walk away having that connection. And so to me, that's success.
Thank you. And measurements is a key topic in our industry. How do we measure events and experiences, right? Beyond clicks and digital scrolling and lead capture. So I want to start with a question for you, Benja. So HubSpot has built one of the most renowned community in marketing with Unbound. How do you draw the line between just building an audience and building a community?
Well, I think audiences listen and communities participate. And at HubSpot and at Unbound, we have built a community because they're part of the conversation. They're hosting meetups. They're hosting they're answering questions that the community has. They're creating their own content. And they're an active part of the narrative that we're creating. And we're not just projecting at them, we're inviting them into the room, and they're helping shape the shape of the room themselves. And that is what community means to me, whether it is at HubSpot or at your local bowling league. It's you participating in the conversation.
Do you think there's a specific moment or way to kind of convert an audience into a community? Is there a specific shift moment?
I would say there's two key factors of converting an audience into a community. One is giving the audience agency, and so that's creating a clear parameter of where they're able to engage, and then an objective. What are they able to accomplish by engaging? So at Unbound, we have anti-sessions where people can interact with different experts in their field and help push their business further. And then with their objective of unlocking their potential in their business plan or their growth or the way they're judging their business ideas. So we're creating all of these opportunities for agency and then providing an objective that has a payout and they can have a lasting impact beyond the room, beyond the walls of the event.
And Shannon, so Yahoo has access to more data and signals from the audience than every marketer would dream of. So my question is, what does large-scale data reveal extremely well about an audience, and what does it constantly fail at? Sorry, the translation piece this morning. So my question is, what does large-scale data really measure well, and what does it doesn't measure well?
Measure well. So I think one of the things that really surprises people about Yahoo is just our scale and our reach. So we reach 9 in 10 Americans on a monthly basis, and out of that, half are millennial and Gen Z. And I think those stats really surprise people. But what's also incredible about Yahoo is what makes up our data. So we have a trio of signals: search, content, and mail. And that just provides a really rich ecosystem for advertisers to tap into. And that will deliver you the sort of data and insights you need, but it doesn't necessarily give you the overall feeling. And that's why it's important for us to show up at moments like this to give people a deeper understanding of actually how our brands connect with people from an emotional standpoint, and gives them a deeper insight into that. So it's really about conveying that feeling in an effort to reach people. And so this week alone, we have a beach space at the Martinez Beach, and we're calling it this year Yahoo Explore Society. We released a new product this past January. It's our new AI answer engine called Yahoo Scout, and we're leaning into that spirit of exploration and curiosity. We're paying homage to the famous French explorer Jacques Cousteau, and we pulled together this really incredible experience called Yahoo Explore Society. We have a purple submarine that moved from our beach to the Palais. And what it does is you go into this space and there's this just opportunity to really explore and come out of it with new information, new learnings, new insights, and also just a deeper understanding into who Yahoo is in the kind of way that we like to connect with our consumers and our advertisers. So come visit. We're only there today.
We also heard that yesterday was the best party ever hosted by Yahoo, right?
I mean,
Gabriella?
according to me, and that's all that matters. So.
I did only sleep about 2 hours. I think I saw the sun come up. It was pretty incredible. Talk about delivering a feeling. So, one of the things I always say is when you work with talent, you have to be comfortable in marketing to actually sit back and let creatives and artists do their thing. And so we, as marketers, we like to be in control of everything. But in these moments, the best thing you can do is sit back and just let them do it. So he stayed on for an extra hour. He played for 3.5 hours last night, and everyone just danced until the wee hours of the morning. It was really fun. Yeah, you work a lot with artists and
All the
come
time.
from that background. Do you agree with that? And that you kind of just have to let them run?
Couldn't agree more. I think brands are there as a foundation to create opportunities for the creatives to fully express. And though art works well with good constraints, clouding it too much with a message or a metric, which is what we're here talking about, can sometimes take a little bit of the air out of the room and take some of the magic and the unknown. And we need a little bit of risk in marketing for it to land. It's the unknown that ends up being the part, the extra 45 minutes that people end up talking about for years to come.
And talking about metrics and feelings, so Gabriella, you're from the agency side. So when you get into a debrief conversation with a customer after hosting a great experience, what do you hear the most that you can't find in any report?
Yeah, I think it's ultimately measurement, which is what this is about. And experiential has always suffered. I remember, I don't know if you guys remember the day where they'd be like, well, if we did this, we have Nielsen numbers. Like, what are your results? And I'm like, well, we don't have a Nielsen. What am I going to do, So but now we have digital and social. So now is exciting. That's why experiential is hot and will always be hot, because it's that merging of digital and IRL that is driving those extra zeros that never existed before, because it was just, okay, we have 50 here, and that's the KPI, right? But then now we're filming it. It's going to be online. People are taking content. So now we're in a different universe as it relates to how we can go to market, which is really exciting.
And talking about social media and the fact that everything is shareable on social out there. So is there any ways you see experiences succeed that has nothing to do with how shareable they are?
Yeah, it's feelings, right? It's that, like, and then connecting the brand to that feeling. So a little Factory 360 plug, we did a salon takeover. I think some people here got to take advantage of that with our client called Cadent. We were hosting for 3 days blowouts for speakers to come and get their hair done. And we had, I mean, they're not here, but I will say, I will quote them without their permission. But Disney was there and they said, this is the best activation at Cannes. And it's literally a tiny salon in the middle of the city, but we're giving an experience, we're providing something that people want and need. And that's the most important thing at the end of the day. And that's what your concert did. I mean, my 5th year at Cannes, and that was the best concert, right? The best concert. So congratulations.
Did anyone go? Yeah. Oh, you got to go? Oh, good.
I'm shocked you're both here.
I know. Next year you get to go. I did wake up to a message that just said one of the best nights of my life, and I was like, okay, well, go.
I agree. Top 10 for sure.
If we talk about feelings, emotion, and why people come back to events, Benja, HubSpot with Unbound, it's a B2B event. What do you think makes people come back?
Well, I think there's a number of things that get people in the room in-person experiences. We've boiled it down to a 360-degree Unbound framework, a boundless methodology framework that consists of a few different elements that we have seen to be the sort of like key drivers that people look to get from our events. One of those is boundless tools. So people come to our events to understand the ecosystem of tools that can enable them to unlock their business potential. It's boundless connections. How do you find your tribe? How do you find your micro community, make you feel seen, supported, and connected through your journey? It's boundless creativity. So it's experiences that unlock creative ambition and tech-forward activations that inspire you. And it's also boundless thinking. How can you step outside of the way you've typically understood your business challenges and unlock new ways of seeing them and new possibilities? And then that all ladders them to boundless impact. How does it extend past the room so it has a lasting impact? And this is sort of like a 360 foundation that we have used to map all of our experiences to. So when you'll come to Unbound, you'll see all these different activations that map to these different methodology moments that make up this cohesive experience that leaves you leveled up and ready to unlock your full potential. Amazing.
Shannon, Yahoo works across media, partnerships, content, experiences. So in your perspective, what makes people stop looking at a brand, giving attention to a brand when they can constantly scroll online?
Well, first of all, I want an invite to your event. We'll trade, right? You can come to mine. I get to go to yours.
Deal, 1 for 1.
I think what makes people stop and look is deep and rich storytelling. And also things that stand out and just have a really strong tie to what matters to people. So I'll give you an example of another brand that I'm just obsessed with right now. So I don't know if any of you have followed the work that Kid Super and Bape have done.
Love Kid Super.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. The last couple of weeks with the World Cup. So, the World Cup, I think there's a lot of focus on who are the top teams, but there's actually 48 teams in the World Cup, and many of them are these small countries that are coming for the first time. And a lot of the brands that are supported, or a lot of the countries that are supported by brands that just have a few within their ecosystem. And what Kid Super and Bape did was they thought, let's represent all 48 countries so that everyone feels like they have a vested interest in this World Cup. So they designed 48 sneakers for all of the countries. And and what I loved was, and they then launched a campaign with grandmothers. And what they were trying to tie to that is that love of country and nationality come from your parents and from your grandparents, and in particularly your grandmothers. And it's just such a beautiful campaign. I think it's Paris Fashion Week this week in New York. And Kid Super, I think it's today, right? Isn't he's doing a fashion show in Miami, and he's calling it Paris Fashion Week Remote. And he's bringing that collection to life. I just love it so much. If you haven't seen what they're doing, please do. It's beautiful. And it promotes a spirit of inclusivity, and it celebrates the fact that this isn't a 4-week tournament, it's actually a 4-year tournament that countries and governments and support systems have given over the last 4 years. It's wonderful.
Building sense of belonging, trust, all of that.
But we can agree that we're all cheering for Brazil, right?
I have a French husband, so I'm locked
never
in. I'm
mind.
locked into France.
I had to do that.
I want to ask a question to you all. So when do you think an interaction stop being transactional and start being personal?
It's like the real world. I think you touched on it, but I love that you have the pillars or the musts, because people, they subconsciously probably know that's happening, but they don't, and they expect it, right? So to me, that's really smart, but it's always like drawing back ultimately to the strategy and really being focused on how you go to market.
Yeah, for me, it's relevance and resonance. So relevance is the data and insights that ensure that you're reaching them in a compelling way that means something, but it's the resonance that is what takes them, is what they take with them for the long term. And I think the two need to work together to provide a really compelling experience.
I think people have been gathering as long as humanity has been around, and ritual and experiences are innate to our DNA. And so I think designing for them is inherent as marketers to what our human needs are.
We did touch on social media scrolling and everything that happens in the digital world. Shannon, I'd like to ask you, how do real-world experiences in digital media reinforce or contradict each other in shaping how people remember a brand over time?
I think that they have to work together. I think that, sort of going back to the idea of memories and creating experiences that resonate with people, when they then share it across digital platforms and social media, it then becomes collective memory. And so people that may not have even been there are starting to talk about what you did because they heard about it, they were inspired by it. And so it's really important for those two things to work together. So when we think about, 360 experiences and developing what those look like, we think both across IRL and digital to make sure that we're extending that scale and reach as much as possible. We did a really great activation this year at South by Southwest with the launch of Yahoo Scout, our new AI answer engine. And we really leaned into that Austin, Texas spirit. And we took over the iconic Scoot Inn and we changed it to the Scout Inn. I've had to practice saying that multiple times. And it was an in real life experience, but we leaned into influencers and creators to bring some of the moments to life. So we had, a special lassoing creator that taught you how to lasso, line dancing creators, and then those were all shared through their platforms so that people could feel like they were also taking something from the experience.
So cool. I think what you're talking about is what's like inherent to how experiences drive value, and that's we're converting super catalysts at a higher rate than you could possibly do online by giving them a piece of themselves to grow, remember, reflect upon, and engage with at a depth that a URL experience could never compare to.
Shannon, I want to ask you, do you remember how the events or experience were kind of promoted before social media we are lucky now to have those social platforms and those media platforms to amplify our reach when it comes to promoting our experiences. But what's the biggest shift? Like, what did it look like before to be successful?
I think that it's funny because I think now we're taking notes from what we used to do and we're bringing some of that forward. So I think some of the most, I think really fun experiences are the ones that are discoverable. And you talk a lot about this, right? And so the way that things used to be promoted was a lot of word of mouth. And I think there are some really fun experiences happening now where the precursor to the event or the promotion for the event leans into these sort of teasers that get people talking and get people excited to then drive even more momentum for the event. So I think when you're promoting something, it's important to not just throw everything that you're going to experience out there, but give a little bit of a teaser so that people walk into the moment with a curiosity to be able to figure out how they want to guide themselves through the moment.
I so agree with that. I feel like as a consumer, I want to follow the breadcrumbs to establish my own taste, and I don't want someone to force feed me some sort of version of myself. And it's that sense of discovery that allows me to feel ownership over a story or a space or an experience. And so I think that's so beautifully said, is like, you got to leave enough clues and enough invitations in, but enough opportunity for the audience to feel like it's theirs.
Well, and I think that's why we're also passionate about experiential, because for me, it's one of the only marketing channels that people want to engage with. Like, who wants to click on a banner ad? Nobody, you know? And who wants to watch a commercial unless it's Super Bowl? I mean, voluntarily. And literally, lately, I find that the only time I watch commercials are on LinkedIn. And I think that's a lot of people that are in our industry. And that's because the mediums, the way people consume media has changed completely, right? We used to be forced to watch commercials. We used to be, and all of that is changing, and it's driving to things that people actually want to engage with. And that's why we're lucky, in my opinion, to be in the industry that we are.
The experiential topic is trending right now. We're all talking about experiential and how important it is. Gabriella, why do you think this shift happened? Why do you think it's more trendy now? And why do you think it's more trendy
I think
now?
it's a complete layup to what I was just saying as it relates to people not being forced things down their throat. And I mean, like, people want to go to your experience, right? 9,000 people RSVP to your event last night. Whereas how many people are online trying to, I want a banner ad to show up. Like, no, back to the, just an example. But ultimately, my business partner said this, and he was so right, and we talked about the humanity of things. But what COVID proved was that people would be willing to risk their lives to be amongst other people. So as disconnected as society is, and ultimately people want to be together. I mean, I think this is the highest attendance can ever, right? And there's a survey that was done, and they said that 80% of people believe that event marketing is the most trustworthy marketing channel. And every client is, let's be human, let's be authentic, and that you can, the sure way to do that is experiential.
Totally. Benja, do you feel like AI is going to modify or have an impact on how we build experiences?
I think, sort of following up on what you're saying, I think what we're seeing with the propagation of AI and digital content is that in-person experiences have even more scarcity because there's infinite online experiences you can tap into, but you don't know it's real. And so the value of IRL is that much higher because of the scarcity factor. And so I think it's putting even more pressure and more opportunity for experiential marketers to create moments that people know are not a hallucination, except maybe if you were at TSO last night. But generally speaking, this is tangible. We're activating all 5 of your senses, and we're creating moments of deep personal connection that's unavailable online, and we know isn't a hallucination, we know isn't generated. And I think there's a layer of trust there that you can't generate. So we're trust building, like you said, it's the most trustworthy marketing channel. And we're offering an opportunity to be a part of the conversation, and we're creating long-lasting memories. And I think in an age of AI and the propagation of infinite content, this is the scarcity content.
Shannon, working at Yahoo and always building big experiences that stands out, what is the biggest challenge when we think about attendees' expectation? Because out there we can see everything online.
Biggest challenges to
Attendees' expectations.
about
Meeting.
fulfilling people's expectations.
Well, you were mentioning how she said somebody went to Cirque du Soleil for the first time and they said they were underwhelmed. And I was like, what did they expect? Like to remove a limb? Like, what do you want on stage, you know? But it's like, because they're doing everything. So I think, you know, to that point, you know, it's...
Do you feel like it's harder and harder to meet your attendees' expectations when you're building momentum and experiences?
I think it's a lot of what Benja said so brilliantly. It's if you tell them what they should feel and experience, it's going to be underwhelming. If you give them an avenue to explore with their own curiosity, they will come out of it with a much deeper and richer experience. I think that's just a really important way to approach it. Yeah.
So if I ask you all a question, if we were to keep only one metric to measure the success of an experience, which one would you keep? Gabriella?
If I had fun, because that's all that matters.
Shannon?
Well, I'm going to figure out how to measure memories, but I think there are some indicators of that. There's depth of relationship, and of course, there's business outcomes. So we look at all of that. We really track very closely the voice of the customer, how they're feeling about the brand, what they're saying. And then, of course, we track business outcomes as well.
I'm going to go a little bit more philosophical, and knowing that we're in the transformation economy now, it used to be the experience economy, I'd say transformative experiences, because I believe that if you're the foundation for where someone comes and becomes transformed, you're no longer needing to sell to them, they're going to take you with them because you're a part of their transformative journey.
Thank you. I lost my questions for the lighting round, so this is recorded, but I'm going to gracefully pick up my sheet. And while I do this, I want to do a quick lighting round. So
This is live experiences.
Ta-da!
This is much more fun, right?
It's really happening.
I want to do a quick lighting round. I'm going to ask you quick questions. Please don't overthink it. I want your spontaneous answers. First question. One marketing trend that you think is overrated. Shannon?
One marketing trend that's overrated. Ooh, give me a second. Benja, you're up.
Instagrammable moments.
I think that, you know, ultimately it's about being in person. So I'd say overrated is huge advertising campaigns. I'm sorry, above the line, I said it. Maybe in the wrong place. But advertising's changed. And advertising's, what I think it should turn into is just beautiful work. And it's moving back to that, what it used to be, classic, beautiful, editorial work that people want to see. That's almost art. And that's, I think, where things should head. And I'm excited about that.
Taste.
Maybe I'll say like taking a direct hit at your competitors. I think really good marketing can. If you just have strength in who you are and what your brand stands for, and you do that in a creative way, you can get the message across in a much stronger way than if you just take a direct hit at another brand. When I see that, I'm like, ugh.
That is so true.
Yeah, it doesn't represent anyone's brand well, even if that's within your ethos. To be a little edgier, to be a little snarky, you can still do that in other ways and not have to necessarily name other brands.
Any brand right now that you're following that you think really gets it with their marketing campaign? Benja?
I've been really impressed with some of Pinterest's activations here this year. I think especially their activation with Clara Chu as like a means of showcasing how a brand can partner with an emerging artist and bring them along for the ride rather than capitalizing on a trend like upcycled clothing. Really inviting creators in the room, having them be part of the dialogue and amplifying their voice, and then getting the brand attribution by being an active member in the conversation.
I don't go to brand when I think about that. I think of people. So I think Judy Lee, I think Shannon, I think Jimmy Knowles, Tom Flynn at Amex, Benita. And I could just go on and on and on. And ultimately, the brands have to have the ability to allow people to be creative and have the idea and then execute it and do it integrated. But it's the people that are getting it done, and that's, I think, what's really cool to see in the industry.
That's so nice. Celebration of the other people. For me, a brand that's just always, I think, just always gets it right is American Express. They just get it right. They build membership, they build community, they unlock unique experiences, and they've been doing that for almost 200 years. I was lucky enough earlier on in my career to work deep in the American Express business, and also the way that clients feel about being an American Express member. They're so proud of it. That's why it says member since with the date on it. They've just built a tremendous community of advocates, and that is a brand. It is a credit card, but it gives people a feeling. It gives people a sense of belonging. It gives people excitement and drives them and opens up new opportunities for them, whether it's culinary or sports or fashion. They just do an incredible job.
And one marketing buzzword that you would ban forever, Shannon?
Oh, for me, it's curated. I mean, shouldn't everything we be doing feel curated? So, when you see something and it's like a curated experience, it should just be a great experience. Curation should be an inherent part of everything that we do.
I think we killed buzzwords as the word.
Oh, I
No
love
more
that,
buzzwords.
like marketing jargon. Yeah.
Can we stop calling things that you're consuming immersive?
I agree with that.
Especially when they're not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we've watered it down to a point where people will be like, it's my immersive movie. It's like, no, it's okay for something not to be immersive. That's
We're
fine.
just in a theater watching a movie.
There's no shame in that. If all of my senses aren't activated, if I'm not participating, it's not immersive.
Julian, let's make sure we remove all those words from this article post session. Thanks. Okay. And one last question for you all. I want to know where we can find you next.
On an airplane.
So for us, from a strategic standpoint, I was joking with you all backstage that I feel like I haven't been home in 6 months because we are just winding down the massive tentpole season of CES to South by to New Front to Possible to Cannes. And so this next part of the year for us is really focused on targeted client experiences. We are also potentially going to be showing up in some really fun ways on the consumer side, and I support that horizontally as well, the B2C business. And then, of course, CES. We'll be back there next year. We pull together a really great experience for the brand, and then we also do a big concert there as well. We had Public Enemy last year, and that was awesome. This year, we're still in 2026.
Can we be invited?
It feels like it's 2
Can we get
years.
an invite?
Yes, of course.
That's on camera.
Of course.
You can find me at Unbound, September, in Boston for all the go-to-market professionals. It is our flagship event, 13,000 go-to-market pros. Not a user conference, it's an industry conference, and it's going to be incredible this year. We just rebranded from Inbound to Unbound and unlocking your boundless opportunity.
Gabriella?
We'll be activating around the U.S. Open with a client. Really excited about that. They're not an official sponsor, but we always show up as though we are. And then we have tons of conferences. We do B2B and B2C, so we're really everywhere. But I'm excited. I'm going to the Bad Bunny concert on July 4th. So that's what
That's
I'm
going
most
to be
excited.
fun.
Where is that, in Miami?
Paris.
Oh, yes, that's
Oh, wow.
right, in
Yes,
Paris. You're going to that?
Yes, I booked it like months and months ago. So
Started the Tour de France.
yes, yeah. So we'll see. Really excited, but I know that wasn't, not a work answer, but
It's okay. It's perfect. I also heard that some of our guests today are going to be on the Sightline Live podcast, available on Advertising Week and all podcast platform. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session today. Thank you to Salient as well. Thank you, Dana. And we'll see you soon. Don't forget to go and follow the Sightline channels on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our website and our podcast. Thank you very much.
thank you.